Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH Rebirth of Emperor Yang episode number 256 based on novel. So let's start. Fang's residence. The original magnificent reception hall has now become a piece of ruins. All the four walls collapsed, and the dome was lifted up by a powerful force. At the moment, there was only a small place in the middle of the originally empty hall. Fang Kai's body was still embedded in the wall. The only broken wall around his body was afraid that if he moved quietly, it would collapse. The three elders of the Fang family and Luo Jin were the first to withdraw from the scope of the ruins, and only Xiao Yang was still sitting in it. The vigorous energy takes Xiao Yang's body as the center to form a huge energy wind. Xiao Yang closes his eyes and sits cross-legged, allowing those energy to rush into his body. At the moment when the invisible energy swept through, Xiao Yang was able to determine that this was Xiao Xian's awakening in his body. After such a long time, Xiao Xian finally recovered from the huge consumption in the North Sea, and his power was obviously stronger than before. It can be imagined that his own soul power should have recovered long ago. During this period, he was just absorbing and refining the medicinal materials obtained from the sea people. After absorbing the soul power of those herbs, Xiao Xian's own soul has become unimaginable. At least with Xiao Yang's soul power, it is impossible to find out the depth of Xiao Xian, and even the situation of the latter at the moment. And since the energy swept out just now, there was no movement in Xiao Yang's body. Only the source gas between heaven and earth kept gathering and disappeared inexplicably after entering Xiao Yang's body. Xiao Yang knew that Xiao Xian was absorbing these source qi, but he was surprised why the latter didn't respond at all. Xiao Yang, is he all right? Outside, Jutai and others are also looking at Xiao Yang in the field with a worried face. For the strange thing that suddenly happened to the latter, they are really shocked. It is the little doctor fairy among them. At the moment, there is no such surprised expression on their pretty face. Although her heart was also shocked by the sudden scene just now, her worries quickly calmed down when she recovered. Based on her understanding of Xiao Yang, the other party can never do anything uncertain. Since the force is emitted from his body, it also shows that this force is under Xiao Yang's control. In that case, she naturally has no need to worry. With the continuous gathering of the source gas between heaven and earth, the movement around Xiao Yang's body is becoming larger and larger. Even the whole space and the ground tremble slightly. The huge energy oppresses the void and distorts constantly, and it seems that even the air becomes particularly viscous. In the whole process, all the people present were staring at Xiao Yang. Some children of the Fang family who came late also opened a pair of eyes and looked shocked. When will they think that the great Fang family will be destroyed by others, and now they are still sitting and practicing here like they have nothing to fear, which simply doesn't pay attention to their Fang family. Even if there were a few children of the Fang family who wanted to express themselves in a hurry, they were stopped by the three elders before they did anything. Even the whole Fang family could not step into the scope of the conference hall. Seeing that the three elders of their own family were so protective of the young man in the field, the others of the Fang family immediately didn't dare to say anything more, but there were more and more surprised expressions in the sight of constantly looking at Xiao Yang. In the sky, the three elders of the Fang family stared at Xiao Yang, and their hearts were full of shock. With their eyesight, they can naturally see that the forces around Xiao Yang at the moment don't really belong to Xiao Yang. He just acts as the cover of those source qi. All the forces belong to the deeper part of Xiao Yang's body. As for what it is, they can't find out the result, but one thing can be confirmed is that the real owner of this force, it must be much stronger than the three of them, otherwise it will never be possible to retreat from the square pool in that strange state with one blow. Referring to Fang Kai, at the moment, the latter's body is still bent and embedded in the broken wall. Although a pair of eyes can't see the previous scarlet color, his whole person is a faint appearance. It seems that he hasn't sobered up from the explosion of Xiao Yang just now. Bang! Maybe it was such a coincidence, or maybe Fang Kai felt those external eyes. His originally drooping eyes slowly opened with a little pain, moved his body gently, the broken wall on his body suddenly collapsed, and his whole person was liberated from the wall. After returning to God, A pair of eyes that had recovered their clarity could not help sweeping around in a trance. The look on his face was stunned at first, and then he couldn't help staring at the scene in front of him. What the hell happened? After the shock on his face, Fang Kai's head suddenly felt a sharp pain. Then, the previous scenes reappeared in his mind. How could this happen? Recalling the previous scenes, Fang Kai's face turned pale. At the same time, he was glad that he didn't fall on the elder, otherwise he would regret his death. As for why the palm didn't fall, his memory didn't outline it. As for the energy storm around Xiao Yang, it was long before Fang Kai opened his eyes, it gradually subsided. Ancestor, are you awake? Ancestor? Ancestor. When the energy dissipated, Xiao Yang calmly sat still and kept shouting at Xiao Xian from the bottom of his heart. He tried many times but didn't respond. Even if Xiao Yang used his soul to explore carefully in his body, he still couldn't detect the slightest breath of Xiao Xian. It seems that the latter hasn't fully awakened. The previous energy, maybe it was just a change before he woke up. Alas! Thinking of this, Xiao Yang sighed helplessly at the bottom of his heart. Immediately, he raised his eyes faintly. However, as soon as he opened his eyes, he saw a white square pool not far away. His eyes suddenly coagulated and got up quickly, but he also attracted the latter's eyes at the same time. Mr. Xiao Yang. Fang Kai also understood that Xiao Yangding had a deep taboo against him at the moment. Even if he wanted to come forward and explain what had just happened, just when he was about to leave, the three elders suddenly jumped forward and stopped between Fang Kai and Xiao Yang. Master, if you do it again, don't blame us for being rude. At the Fang family residence, all the children of the Fang family are looking at the scene with their eyes wide open and stunned. They can't even believe their eyes. How can their elders turn around and stop in front of their master? If the clear words of the three elders had not been introduced into their ears, these people would have dared to doubt whether there was something wrong with their eyes. Elder, I really didn't know what happened before. I can only say sorry for what happened just now. After this, I will try my best to make up for the three, but Mr. Xiao Yang. Seeing the three elders of his family stop in front of him, Fang Kai is also helpless. At the moment, he sincerely bows to several people in the hope of getting their forgiveness. At the end of the speech, Fang Kai also looks at Xiao Yang. His eyes are true. It's impossible for people to have any doubt. Speaking of it, Xiao Yang at this time was clearly treated like this by a strong man from the source of the king's situation. If ordinary people were afraid, they would have nodded and forgiven him, but he didn't. Even if he could see that Fang Kai's words were sincere, his previous behavior had touched Xiao Yang's inverse scale. Could it be easily ended in 3 or 2 words? Fang Kai, although you are the leader of your family, you are going too far today. No matter what the reason, you have affected the operation of the whole Fang family. Therefore, the 3 of us decided to keep your position as the leader of the Fang family for the time being. As for Mr. Xiao Yang, from now on, he is the worship elder of our Fang family. If there is nothing important, I don't think you should. It's good to approach him at will. Even if the 3 elders knew that Fang Kai had recovered his mind, the damage he had just caused could not be easily repaired. Just like the destroyed ruins in front of him, the reception hall had been completely destroyed. If they wanted to start again, they had to build a new one, but before that, they had to stabilize the foundation and make the ground more solid. At this moment, what the 3 elders have to do is really so. The purpose of staying as the leader of Fang Kai's family is to vent his anger at Xiao Yang's previous oppression and offer sacrifices to elders. It is also to compensate Xiao Yang to the greatest extent. Such behavior is much better than Fang Kai's original requirements. Of course, in this, there must be the reason why Xiao Yang exuded the power before. If there is no certain strength as an incentive, how can these guys treat them with such an attitude? With this in mind, Xiao Yang can't help laughing at himself. In the final analysis, he is still stained with Xiao Xian's light. Otherwise, how can he attract the attention of these guys just by his own cultivation? At most, he will be polite to Fang Jitsong for Fang Jitsong's affairs. Once Fang Jitsong's internal situation improves, the outcome will be easy to imagine. But now it's different. With the smell of Xiao Xian, these guys will naturally face him, no matter whether the power belongs to Xiao Yang himself or not, but as long as it can be used by him, it's enough for these people to be polite to him. Under the premise of strong power, no one will care about the source of that power. Mr. Xiao Yang, the previous thing is really my fault. I'll compensate you. It's just that the poison in Konga's body has broken out again. There's no room for delay. Please ask Mr. Xiao Yang to treat my son's injury. Fang Kai was not a fool. He immediately heard the meaning of the words of the three elders in front of him. Although he didn't quite understand the exact reason, the toxin in Fang Jitsong's body had broken out again. If he continued to delay, the consequences would be unimaginable, so he had to bite the bullet and ask Xiao Yang. Hearing the speech, Xiao Yang's face didn't change much. Looking at the three elders in front of him, he found that the latter three were also looking at themselves with the rest of their eyes. Although they didn't say it clearly, they were obviously waiting for his attitude. These three old guys obviously hope he can promise. After all, they help their own people. They can't really hurt their own people's heart for a person who can't confirm his mind. They can't do the business of losing his wife and breaking his army. Xiao Yangang wanted to open his mouth, but he suddenly put a warm palm on his shoulder. He turned his head and looked. It was Luo Jin, followed by Xiao Yixian and others. Although their faces had recovered, he could still see a little pale from the face of Xiao Yixian. The gap between Dudi and Yuan Wang was too great. If Fang Kai really wanted to kill at that time, I'm afraid the first to die were Xiao Yixian and Muling. With this in mind, Xiao Yang's state of mind calmed down by Xiao Xian fluctuated again. He looked at Luo Jin on the side. Immediately, Xiao Yang looked at Fang Kai and raised his eyelids. His tone was calm. I can promise to expel poison for Master Fang. As soon as the words came out, the three elders and Fang Kai were slightly relaxed. Then Xiao Yang continued to speak. But, Master Fang, you must salute and apologize to her. While saying this, Xiao Yang also raised his finger and pointed to the little medical fairy. At this time, the latter also reacted. Immediately, he was stunned on his cheek, then opened his mouth, but kept silent. What? This woman is just a 3-star fighting emperor. How can this work? How can the owner of our Fang family apologize to a 3-star fighting emperor? Absolutely not. As soon as he blurted out this sentence, all the children of the Fang family immediately shouted and asked the master of the Fang family to apologize to a person of unknown origin. How can this be done, not to mention that his cultivation is far inferior to that of Fang Kai? Xiao Yang's move can be said to want the Fang family to beat themselves in the face. Mr. Xiao Yang, will it be too? If Master Fang doesn't want to, you can go to Maro Zun. I believe even if you find him now, he is also willing to cooperate with you. Before the words of the elder in front of him fell, Xiao Yang spoke again, and the words of the elder in front of him were blocked in his mouth. Although they knew that Xiao Yang was retaliating for the previous incident, it was too much to ask Fang Kai to apologize to the little doctor in front of all Fang's family. However, if you don't want to apologize, Fang Jitsong's life will be threatened. Xiao Yang's move is forcing him to apologize. Alas! After all, he was a father. Fang Kai struggled for a long time. After all, he sighed bitterly. He stepped forward a few steps and came to the front of the little medical fairy. In the unbelievable eyes of the people of the Fang family, he respectfully saluted the little medical fairy. At the same time, he also apologized word by word. After being treated like this, the little doctor almost couldn't return to God. He quickly looked at Xiao Yang next to him and nodded when he saw the latter. Then he nodded gently and accepted Fang Kai's apology. Until now, Fang Kai tightened his face and tried to calm his mood at the bottom of his heart. Then he looked at Xiao Yang and said in a depressed tone, Mr. Xiao Yang, is it okay now? Hearing the speech, the latter nodded. Ignoring the expressions on the faces of the three elders, he took the little medical fairy next to him with one hand and turned to the courtyard as a middle line. Outside the reception hall, which had become a ruin, Xiao Yang took the little medical fairy slowly to the courtyard, lying flat on the ground in front of Fang Jitsong, who had passed out in a coma. As soon as they saw the latter, their faces showed a surprised expression at the same time. Xiao Yang even squatted down and grabbed Fang Jitsung's wrist without hesitation. His heart moved. The huge soul force immediately entered the latter's body and quickly checked the condition in his body. On one side, the little doctor also squatted down. Yu's hand was just about to reach the wrist of Fang Jitsung's other hand, but then Xiao Yang stopped it. Be careful, the toxin in his body has completely exploded. Now even my soul power is almost overwhelmed. If you make a careless move like this, you will be hurt by the toxin. Stopped by Xiao Yang, the little doctor was stunned first on his face. After hearing Xiao Yang's words, he took back his slender jade hand with lingering fear. Even if she is a disaster poison, since even Xiao Yang has stopped her, it is enough to show how fierce the toxin in Fang Jitsung's body is. Once the little medical fairy carelessly transports her soul power into Fang Jitsung's body, even the little medical fairy is afraid of being seriously injured under the violent impact of the toxin. This is not what Xiao Yang wants to see. But the poison in his body. Hesitated for a moment, the little doctor frowned. As soon as her words were exported, Xiao Yang blocked them back with severe eyes. Just leave everything to me. You don't have to do it or think about it. Just take care of yourself. Although the voice was not loud, it seemed to contain some irresistible dignity. The little doctor immediately tooted his mouth with a lovely face and retreated timidly. Xiao Yang saw that lovely look on Xiao Yishen's cheek. Although there was no change in his face, at the moment of looking back, an old face still couldn't help getting hot. He took a deep breath and calmed himself down. Then Xiao Yang turned his eyes and put aside his thoughts. While his eyes fell on Fang Jitsung, his mind also turned back. After a brief and rapid exploration, Xiao Yang was surprised to find that Fang Jitsung's body had been suppressed by a lot of toxins, which unexpectedly rose up inexplicably. Among the limbs and bones that had been expelled by Xiao Yang with strange fire, Xiao Yang was once again infected by toxins. It seems that the explosive power and diffusion speed of the toxins, it seems to have become more terrible. In such a short time, the dispersion degree of the toxin even exceeded the scene when Xiao Yang inspected Fang Jitsung a few days ago. Even Xiao Yang was surprised and suspicious at such a strange diffusion speed. How could this happen? Why did the toxin suddenly become so fierce? In his heart, when Xiao Yang rolled up Fang Jitsung's sleeve, he only saw that even the latter's original white arm was gradually black and blue, and even small black spots could be seen in some places, which was the proof that the toxin spread to the epidermis. No, the toxin spread so fast. When he found something wrong, Xiao Yang quickly took back his palm, put his fingers together, and shook his fingers gently. The light blue flame suddenly appeared. There was no time to explain, so he quickly pointed between Fang Jitsung's wrist joints, followed by his elbows, arms, and even the meridians and acupoints all over his body. It was not until Xiao Yang took back his palm and explored again that the spread of toxins in Fang Jitsung's body slowed down a little, but even so, if he can't get treatment again, I believe that Fang Jitsung will still lose his life in one night. What's the matter? It's only half a month since I last suppressed the toxin in Konga's body. How can it happen again, and the speed of diffusion? As Fang Jitsung's father, while Xiao Yang helped Fang Jitsung control the spread of toxins in his body, Fang Kai hurriedly came forward to explore the situation in the latter's body. But then, even his face couldn't help showing a shocked expression. Originally, he would suppress toxins in Fang Jitsung every other month to control the spread of toxins. However, it was only more than 10 days since his last shot. The toxin in Fang Jitsung's body broke out completely, which was the result he never expected. Immediately, Fang Kai quickly mobilized the source gas in the cyclone in his body, and his powerful power quickly condensed in the palm of his hand. He wanted to fight for his son to suppress the toxin in his body. After all, no matter what means Xiao Yang has, Fang Jitsung is his son. He must ensure that Fang Jitsung will not happen anything because of the toxin. At least before Xiao Yang really drives the poison, he will never allow those toxins to spread again. If you don't want him to have something to do, you'd better not do it. However, just when Fang Kai was about to make a move, Xiao Yang suddenly raised his eyes and opened his mouth with a serious face. Hearing this, Fang Kai frowned and said, "But the poison in Konga's body has completely exploded. Now it is not suppressed. Once these toxins are out of control again, it will be even more. If you do, then even I can't save him. Without waiting for Fang Kai's words to fall, Xiao Yang interrupted it. Suddenly, Fang Kai's heart was in a tight mood, and the huge source gas condensed in his palm also dispersed quietly after a burst of struggle and hesitation. He didn't dare not save his son, but he didn't want to bet on Fang Jitsong's life. Although he was reluctant, he also understood that this endless suppression method had lasted too long. Even if it continued like this, one day he still couldn't save his son. In the process of suppressing the toxin every time, Fang Kai can clearly feel that the power of the toxin is obviously stronger. It is not the way to continue for a long time. Maybe Xiao Yang's stop at the moment has named a way for Fang Jitsong to survive. After stopping Fang Kai's move, Xiao Yang sighed a long sigh and said trouble in his heart. Before that, even he didn't expect that the power of the toxin had been suppressed. Otherwise, I'm afraid his detoxification process would not be so easy. From now on, the power of the toxin is obviously much more ferocious than he expected. Although it will be a little hard, compared with the disaster poison body, it is still within Xiao Yang's bearing range. However, until now, what Xiao Yang doesn't understand is why the poison in Fang Jitsong's body suddenly breaks out. After temporarily inhibiting the diffusion rate of the toxin in Fang Jitsong's body, Xiao Yang should be ready to officially remove the toxin for Fang Jitsong. With the help of different fire and some special techniques, temporarily inhibit some key meridians in Fang Jitsong's body, so as to slow down the spread of the toxin. Although it plays an obvious role, even if it is slow, the toxin is still spreading. If it can't be completely eliminated, it will leave a little curse. I'm afraid the poison will make a comeback. Xiao Yang just stopped Fang Kai's action because he found a major feature of those toxins. These toxins seem to have strong adaptability. They can not only quickly adapt to the physical condition of the host, but also absorb the self-cultivation of the host, and are even unkind to external forces. Even when Xiao Yang injected his soul power into Fang Jitsong, those toxins like monsters were also interested in his soul power. It seems that this thing has an extremely paranoid desire to devour all energy. It is not something that can be produced naturally at all. Therefore, it further confirms Xiao Yang's conjecture that this toxin may be modulated by a malicious guy who can produce this level of toxin. I'm afraid this person is not an ordinary strong person. At least, people who can concoct this poison have different views on poison masters. Later, in order to let Xiao Yang concentrate on detoxifying Fang Jitsong, Fang Kai specially arranged an independent courtyard for Xiao Yang, and even those who could enter the house were strictly restricted. Except Xiao Yang and Fang Kai themselves, Luo Jin and his party were insisted to stay outside the door, and even the three elders of the Fang family were not allowed to enter the house. Although the three old men said repeatedly that they had deprived Fang Kai of his position as the head of the family, it was just a show of fun and deliberately showed Xiao Yang. Now that it was no longer necessary, the three old men were naturally more respectful to each other. However, perhaps it was because Fang Kai had shot them before, which caused them to talk or do things, always with a strange awkward feeling. As for Luo Jin and others, although they don't trust Xiao Yang to be inside alone, under Fang Kai's repeated insistence, they can only stop in front of the door. Of course, this is what Xiao Yang nodded, otherwise they will never be stopped easily. In the house, Xiao Yang checked Fang Jitsong in all aspects, and then determined that he had no missing details. Only then did he control the strange fire. Just like last time, he wrapped Fang Jitsong's body with the strange fire, and the process of detoxification officially began. Although the two detoxification methods are almost the same, this time Xiao Yang is more overbearing in the face of the toxin, which makes the whole process much slower. Even in order to remove the toxin in Fang Jitsong's body, Xiao Yang's soul power has been slightly affected in the process of controlling different fire and toxin entanglement. A small amount of damage is nothing, but what he doesn't know is that whenever his soul power is damaged, those toxins will rush up. Even if almost all of them are resisted by the different fire, there will still be an extremely small amount of toxins, so that imperceptible toxins will invade Xiao Yang's soul power, which is wrapped by the soul power and the different fire, safely into his body. The whole process of Xiao Yang's detoxification for Fang Jitsong lasted for 3 days. 3 days later, Fang Jitsung's toxin was finally removed by Xiao Yang's fierce refining. The body, like a dying man 3 days ago, has finally returned to normal again. With the disappearance of those toxins, Fang Jitsung's fat body has unconsciously converged a lot. The whole person looks more handsome, but it's a pity that he is still sleeping on the bed at the moment. As for Fang Kai, in order not to disturb Xiao Yang, but also for the sake of his son, he had left the room a day ago and waited for Xiao Yang's good news. After a day's waiting, he personally noticed that Fang Jitsung's poison was getting less and less, first the skin, then the meridians and bones, and then the internal organs. Everything proved that Fang Jitsung was about to return to normal. How could he not be excited as a father? But it was for this reason that he left the room early in order to ensure that the whole process would never go wrong. Until today, the poison in Fang Jitsung's body is finally completely eliminated. However, with Fang Jitsung's liberation, Xiao Yang has trouble in his body at this time. The source gas in the body has been greatly consumed in the past 3 days. Until this time, the remaining source gas in Xiaoyan cyclone is only 20%. In order to avoid the resurgence of those toxins, Xiaoyan has spared no effort this time. The sweat on his forehead kept rolling like raindrops. The original ruddy lips were now white, and his cheeks were tired. A pair of eyelids were heavy like rolling stones at the moment. The 3-day refining and detoxification is not a long time in terms of time. Although it consumes a lot of source gas, it cannot be so right in terms of reason. However, for Xiao Yang at this time, the original clear mind in his brain is also slightly in a trance. What's going on? When he noticed something was wrong, Xiao Yang couldn't help but wonder. He quickly refreshed himself and wanted to mobilize the little source gas left in his body. However, at the next moment, Xiao Yang was shocked to find that a mass of black toxin with the size of a fist appeared in his cyclone, occupying all the important meridians, completely sealing all the routes that the source gas can mobilize. But before Xiao Yang did the rest, a pair of heavy eyelids fell slowly. The body also fell on the floor of the house. At the same time, Luo Jin and others outside the door are still waiting patiently. Luo Jin and Bai Hua take a look at the cold eyes of the Fang family's children outside the courtyard from time to time, and ignore them at random. Since Xiao Yang asked Fang Kai to apologize to the little Dr. Xian, these people of the Fang family looked at them like enemies. They were afraid that if Fang Kai had not ordered, they would have burst in. At this time, the little Dr. Fairy was standing in front of the door with a light frown. Since Xiao Yang didn't let her touch Fang Jitsung's wrist that day, there had been a vague premonition in her heart that something bad would happen. With the passage of time, this premonition finally became stronger and stronger, until this time today. Bang! Although the movement in the house was not big, even Luo Jin and others didn't hear clearly, they still fell into the ears of the little medical fairy who had been staring at the door. Suddenly, the expression on the latter's pretty face suddenly changed. Without much thought, the charming body rushed forward and pushed the door open. A pair of beautiful eyes immediately looked into the house. Then, he saw Xiao Yang, who had fallen unconscious at this time. Xiao Yang. Seeing Xiao Yang lying on the ground at the first sight, Xiao Yishen's face suddenly changed, and he gave a cry of surprise. While alerting others in the hospital, he also hurried to Xiao Yang's side, picked up the latter's body, and a pair of beautiful eyes full of worry quickly swept over Xiao Yang. When he saw his grey face, Xiao Yishen's heart jumped. According to her views on poison, it can be seen at a glance that Xiao Yang is obviously poisoned by some extremely dangerous poison at the moment. What's the matter, Xiao Yang? What happened to him? Then, Luo Jin and others who ran in one after another have also come to Xiao Yang's side. A group of people surrounded Xiao Yang and Xiao Yishen. Luo Jin and Bai Hua quickly squatted down and held Xiao Yang's wrist with one hand. After some exploration, their faces also changed. Poisoned. How can this happen? It's clear that it's detoxification. How can this poison hurt him in turn? Moreover, Xiao Yang has different fire to protect his body. How can these poisons? No way, the cultivation of the person who created this poison is much stronger than him. Although Xiao Yang has different fire to protect his body and can remove most of the toxins, it is obvious that these poisons in his body have been specially refined by its original owner, which contains some of its own strength. Unless Xiao Yang has stronger strength, he can refine these poisons with different fire, otherwise it will be difficult only by finding the original antidote to this poison. When Luo Jin and others were surprised that Xiao Yang would be poisoned, Xiao Yixuan immediately said his opinion. At the end of the words, Xiao Yixuan seemed to want to say something, but when the words came to her mouth, she swallowed them back. When these people heard what little Dr. Xian said, the expression on each face couldn't help changing slightly. The poison was too poisonous. Xiao Yang saved others and hurt himself again. As long as it wasn't dissolved with antidote, the poison would kill people anyway. Mr. Xiao Yang, how's it going, Conga? Has the poison in his body been cured? Soon, Fang Kai's uncontrollable voice sounded outside the door. From that voice alone, several people present could imagine what an excited expression Fang Kai's face would be at this time. When his son was saved, Fang Kai's heart could not help but feel a little happy. Naturally, he was normal with a happy smile. However, as soon as his front foot stepped into the door, he saw Luo Jin and others in a circle. He was stunned in his eyes, and his expression on his face solidified, and a bad premonition rushed into his heart. Tsong er. Although he saw Xiao Yang lying in his arms by the little doctor, Fang Kai only glanced at him in a hurry. Then he hurried to his son and whispered a word. Then he held Fang Jitsong's wrist in one hand and checked with a worried look on his face. Don't worry, he's all right. The indifferent voice of the little doctor came from behind. Fang Kai slightly turned his head and glanced at the little doctor with the rest of his eyes. He was surprised at the courage of the former. Although he had to apologize to the little doctor for protecting Fang Jitsong that day, it did not mean that the little doctor would be able to stand tall in front of him from now on. He believed that the little girl who spoke at this time knew it, but even so, she was able to say such words in such a tone, which inevitably surprised Fang Kai. Fortunately, what little Dr. Xian said is not a lie. After some exploration, Fang Jitsong's toxin has really been removed. Although he is still in a coma at this time, it is only because the latter's body has been persecuted by toxin for a long time and is still resting. I believe Fang Jitsong will wake up soon. It's just that Fang Jitsong is all right now, but Xiao Yang. What's the matter with Mr. Xiao Yang here? After confirming that his son was all right, Fang Kai looked at Xiao Yang, who was lying in the arms of the little doctor, and asked in a surprised tone. To tell the truth, he doesn't know what happened to Xiao Yang at the moment. He just came in a hurry after he noticed the movement here. He can always talk about his son in his heart. He doesn't want to pay attention to Xiao Yang. Besides, Xiao Yang has different fire to protect his body. He doesn't think anything will happen after saving his son. He was poisoned. Birch gently put down Xiao Yang's cool palm, turned his head, looked coldly at Fang Kai and slowly tunnel. Poisoning? Didn't he have doubts about protecting his body? How could he be poisoned? I also want to know what the poison is, why it was transferred to him and who created it. Lan Yi said that your son was poisoned in the forest, but Warcraft will never have this strange poison. It is not an ordinary Warcraft that poisoned your son. What's the matter? As he spoke in a somber tone, he got up and walked towards the square pool with an overbearing face. There was no sense of awe in his eyes. This guy. Seeing White Birch approaching, Fang Kai not only didn't show the dignity of the strong, but was surprised. Who are these people in front of him? How can they show a domineering appearance today? They are just a group of young people who changed the Source environment. Even the strong man of the Source King dare to face it with such a posture. I don't know whether I'm not afraid of death or something. You're just a late Huayuanjing. You dare to question me. The muscles on his face jerked, and Fang Kai only felt that his supreme position as the Source King's strong man seemed to have been collided. Even if he drank coldly, he stood up and stepped forward. A fierce and domineering momentum swept out in an instant, and easily shook back the White Birch facing him. Boy, next time you contradict others, you have to recognize your own identity. Fang Kai's fierce eyes stared at the White Birch, with a dignified look between his eyebrows and eyes. Identity? After all, it's just a Source King. How high do you think you have? But at this time, behind Bai Hua, Luo Jin took another step forward and supported Bai Hua, who was forced to retreat by Fang Kai's momentum. At the same time, His indifferent eyes also fell on Fang Kai. As soon as he heard Luo Jin's words, Fang Kai's old face twitched again. The two young people in front of him were nameless, but how could they speak more and more arrogant? Is there really any super force behind them? At the thought of this, Fang Kai became suspicious. Indeed, a team like Xiao Yang or Ju Tai, who led the team, is an extremely special existence. One is the most hegemonic force in the world, and the other is a person under the command of the first superforce in the mainland. He has reason to believe that the others around Xiao Yang must be not ordinary people. But even so, Fang Kai's heart is still unwilling. After all, he is a strong man in the great territory of Tangyuanwang. He is treated like this by two Huayuanjing boys. If it is spread, he will become a laughingstock of others. The majesty established in the Fang family will also fall to the ground. Just when Fang Kai was about to speak again. That's enough. You all get out now. This video will end here.